You've been part of the nonprofit Hive. I think like you'd signed up on our wait list before we even started. You were one
Yeah.
of the like, initial people, which I so thankful for you wonderful humans who just believed before there was even something exactly to believe in.
Mhm.
Um, but you've been a Hive member, you've talked to people from all over the world as part of this. How has like
Mm.
that peer support kind of come in, your personal experiences in Hive chats, but also just, you know, what do you get out of these chats?
So I just like talking to people about themselves, right? I like hearing different people's stories. It is all about the energy that I get from it. So Thursdays are like, okay, which window am I picking? It's like the 3 windows on Thursdays that you sort of pick, and it gives me energy. It gives me motivation. I learned a while ago in business development that it doesn't matter if you're a CEO. It doesn't matter if you're the person answering the front desk. We're all people and we all have a backstory. And I'm
Yeah.
always interested in everybody's backstory. I've seen a couple of the more recent posts about who knew the Hive was going to be global, right? So that's pretty
I had no
cool, right?
idea.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I've spoken to people in Uganda and Ghana and Lesotho, I think it is. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Um, and so some really, really impactful people doing some impactful work and literally figuring it out as they go along. And I'm like, good God, we're so lucky here in Canada where we've got all of these resources to help us, and there are people moving mountains almost literally with
Yeah.
so few resources by comparison.
They they just I think I like what you had said about people's stories, and
Yeah,
for me understanding people's why for social impact work is just as exciting as what the impact ends up being
yeah,
as well, because we all have that reason for being in this work, and I don't know that when you probably signed up to attend this gala, you would have known that the serendipity of that event pushed your life in
mm-hmm.
a different direction. And I think that's what's really cool to me is there is a little bit of this interesting serendipity when you put people in social impact in the same room and you just kind of see what happens. And I know part of it too is that wonderful humans like yourself who have joined and just come with thoughtfulness, with openness, and like it really is creating this interesting international community of people who are all really coming together and helping each other to create impact. And we all knew that nonprofit professionals had that in them. I just think
Yeah,
there's just little barriers in place along the way that make it like small stumbling blocks that are, when you have a busy day, they're just enough of a stumbling block to mean you don't take that step to reach out.
yeah. No, I think that's fair. I mean, I who the heck knew? I I will say this, that sometimes whatever I can do to help them be more impactful. Sometimes it's just an introduction. Sometimes it's, I can do this for you this summer. Sometimes it's, have you met such and such person? I think you'd be beneficial to have another conversation. So it has this like triangulation effect.
Yeah.
That's not quite the right word, but it has a multiplier effect of, you know, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who can help, and you just never know the impact of it. I think that's what you're seeing. I feel like that's what you're seeing, is that there will always be something like that that will sort of move the needle just enough for that, that 10% effort suddenly have a multiplier effort, so it becomes a 90%, return on investments kind of thing. So
That's a really cool
uh,
way to say that, Rasheeda. I
mm,
love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for having been a Hive member and such a supporter. And
happy to.
my my heart is full every time I run into you in different locations, in person as well as online. So thank you very much for doing this with me.